Hey everybody, uh, Mars here. The update is here. I want to go over it as fastly as possible and go over especially the troop conversion because we have a time limit on that. And I don't want to tell you how to do your strategy, but I do want to have you have the information to make a educated decision. So before we do that, let's just really quickly go over some of the stuff in the update. You got new buildings in the Shield of the Realm with conclaves for thunder, bow, riders, and swords. So you can go in, you can look at what you're going to get for doing it. You can upgrade it, and you can get up to around like 55 to 65% extra buffs for this. It's going to be progressive. It's going to get more expensive to upgrade as you go along, so you can kind of focus more on certain troop types. I will say you probably want to go with whatever your heavy hitter is going to be. So if you're going to be an archer player, you're going to be a siege player, you're going to be an infantry player, or you want to try and run the cavalry and have that hit really hard against archers, then do that. You can also now get some of that stuff in the exchange. You can now exchange for codex, so that'll be helpful. Do a couple maybe a day, because the codex are very expensive. So that is going to be kind of an initial pay gap, but we will fight through it. The heroes have changed. Korra has an increase to the reduction to attack and defense. Ren Steel Shaper got an increase. Cavan has a buff to its damage dealt up to 25%. Gideon got the errata treatment, and now it progresses upwards. I think, and it also got a small bump at the top. So you don't have the 35% right off the bat anymore with Gideon. Mori Star is now very effective. There's some error text on Rue and Raffi, where it says that it gives you increased damage with archers, and then that Raffi doesn't have to be on the wall, but he actually does, at least from my understanding. Adrian got the HP replaced into defense, and Ogdmali is now really, really good. Not that he wasn't before, but because he has a defense as well as HP with a increase to both HP and defense now. And you still get the 25% damage reduction if you have enough archers, infantry in your castles. Now you have all purple heroes. Some of the stats got increased, but they're still not overwhelming, and you will quickly go out of those. So you got all those additions to the thing. Jansen, though, is one of the biggest things. Jansen got the 50% extra HP to him, with still a reflection damage of near 20%. And so he's been very, very effective in all the battle reports that I've seen so far. Korra could be a game changer, unlike he was before. I wouldn't say he's going to be top tier, but he is usable in my mind. Shinjin, will have to see what he does. He's still a very technical hero to try and go with, but that's kind of where we're at. Okay, guys, they've changed how the troops are. Their overall base stats are a little bit different, and their skills have been changed. So T10 archers, they essentially have the same things as the T11 archers, except for T11 archers have this extra 10% damage when defending castles. So they both have attack and defense increases of 20%, and then they have this deal extra 30% damage with a 36% chance to attack the spear's infantry directly. So if you have T10 infantry in the front that helps deflect some of that archer arrows, then this can actually counter that and go straight for your T11 infantry. So archers are going to be very strong against infantry, as they said before, and we've seen that in some of the battle reports already. Unfortunately, the cav, they're going to be a little bit more vulnerable. They can get just absolutely eaten up by the spearmen, but they will be really strong against archers, and they will have, especially in a rally, a high chance of being able to hit from behind. They got this charge. It gets up to 36% chance to attack whichever enemy is furthest to the rear. So what they will be able to do is, in a rally, you got multiple chances of your cavalry being able to round around that formation and smash you. So cavalry, although they're still a very high gamble troop, they can just devastate people. I think they're safer to play in a rally format, which solos are going to be somewhat hard to do in my mind. Okay, so Siege. Siege got a huge damage buffs to them. The T11 Juggernauts, they have this cool alert ability where it moves to the front of the row when attacking castles, while increasing the HP and defense by 45%. So that's massive, and they already have in the base stats now the highest HP. They also have increased troop load, and then reduces damage dealt by 15% when attacking castles by ranged units. So that is going to just be amazing. They're not meant to be there to kill lots of troops. They're there to allow your attack to just smash from behind, and that is what the trebuchets are for. The trebuchets are going to get a huge amounts of kills because they have the furthest range, they have a very high attack, and they get a 40% increase in damage when attacking castles. So this is going to be nuts. They are going to just smash you from afar. It already has, so you got an increase by 40%, you got a natural increase by 20%, so that's already 60%, and they have a 255 attack. So base stats, massive. And they have a thing that greatly increases range. We don't know how much that is. They could be like 5%, 1%, 20%. We don't know. But that's going to increase the range off of what we already know. So they will be a little bit wary of the cavalry, but this could actually be a troop type that is very, very strong. I would suggest considering it. I wouldn't dismiss all of your siege. Very strong unit, and they have some sweet heroes with Mina and Chojin and Karari, or whatever his name is, the samurai looking dude. So very viable. You could also play Ashira too. So Siege, don't sleep on it. Really look into it. Okay, Infantry, they got a HP decrease for T11, but they still have very high attack, and they have really good heroes on top of that. So you got the Assault, it already destroyed cavalry before. Now it's doing so in style. So it's nuts. You got that increase. You got defense increased by 25% with an increase by 25% in attack as well. And then you have your shieldman. This guy, these went from just like, hey guys, have a little bit in your castle just because to eat up some of the kills that might happen and kind of just get people to target them. Now, with the second highest HP, they're a legitimate force, and it seems as if dispatches really don't work as well unless you have these troops in your dispatch. So these guys are really strong. They work really good with Ogd. They work really good with Jansen. They are nuts. I think they're going to be a very strong troop. I was very wary of them at first, but after testing, I think these guys are very necessary. I wouldn't go overboard with them, but I would have a good amount of them in comparison to what you're going to do in like a KVK or Overlord. So I would have enough to be able to put like 50k in your dispatches so that you have enough meat up front, and they last. I will tell you, they are really good at surviving, and they're also going to be very good against ranged units. So it's going to weaken your ranged troops, decreasing their damage dealt by 10%. And I believe this 10% is not going to just affect this troop, but it will affect your other troops as well. has increased defense and then increased HP. So they already have a 25% on top of that, and then you put a Jansen on there with a 50% HP, and then you got a Ogd in there with a somewhere around 85 to 89% HP on top of that. Super strong. I don't sleep on these guys. These guys are necessary. So that kind of goes over the troops. I'm sure I'm missing something. I'm just trying to rush through this really quick, but yeah, this is going to be really, really strong. So let's go into the troop conversion. I'm going to, I really wanted to consider how I wanted to do this, but what you can do is for extra wood, extra silver, and the other one, iron, you can actually convert you can convert some of your stuff to a lower thing at a T9 from a T11 to T9, and you can convert, let's say, I'm gonna convert just for kicks and giggles right here, 165 to 45. Okay, so I'm converting that, and I'm going to get 318,922 additional T11, T9 troops. So I converted. I'm going to lose a little bit of power, I think, from that. And so now what I can do is when my troops are done, I can convert these elite axe warriors up to Imperial Axe Warriors, and now I've nearly doubled the amount of troops I have. Now, this is a costly way of doing it. You are going to have to use speeds, but you're going to use less speeds and grain than you would for training a whole new batch of troops. So you can actually increase all your troops by doing this. I really considered not sharing that just because sometimes you want advantages, right? But I wanted some of you players that, have been wanting to bulk up. That is a way you can do it. It is a little bit risky, especially with KVK and Overlord coming very soon. If you do really bulk, like if I did the 3 million, that I'm not going to have those by time. It's going to take nearly 3,000 plus 2 speeds, depending on what your speed is for training, to get that with a ton of resources on top of that. So let's look at some of the troops you may want to convert. As I said before, King's Rangers, the archers, I'm guessing, I personally don't think that they're worth keeping around. So as a way of showing you that I don't think that they're going to be worth it very much, I'm actually going to convert a good chunk into T10. Boom. There we go. And then let's go into this. I'm going to put the rest into trebuchets, because I do believe, there, I did it. I bit the bullet. CT10 archers are going to be quite easy to get if I really want them. I can train some more. I'm still not sure about the elite riders, so I have a little under a full dispatch of them, so I'm going to let them be. I'm not huge on the lancers, so I don't know, I'll probably end up converting them. I didn't want to convert too much early because I want to be able to really dig deep into this. So just like you guys, I would really consider how I convert, but you do have like 2 more days left to make that decision. Okay guys, so you got the conversion. So I could actually convert these Imperial Lancers into, like, if I wanted to have Imperial Markswomen, I could convert them into T9 Imperial Markswomen and then promote them up so that way I get even more than I would than just a straight conversion across. But so you got your markswomen that are going to kill off infantry. You got Imperial axe warriors that will kill off the lancers, the cavalry. So if you play a infantry archer combo, cavalry is going to have a really hard time beating you. The one caveat to that is you can actually beat an archer player that's majority archers by having them rush and kill those archers from behind. But if you have less archers and more Imperial Axe Warriors, the chances are you're going to still get destroyed by an infantry player like that. The two types that I would say that you could probably go solo on is Imperial Axe, the infantry, and trebuchets. Obviously, even if you're a strong archer player, you're going to need to have at least a little bit of infantry. But cavalry is the one troop type where I'd say is absolutely you cannot play it solo. And I think that there's a lot of cavalry players that are very upset about that. I feel your pain, but unfortunately, there needed to be a change. I believe there needed to be a change, and this is what we have. Not saying that's the best version of what it could be, but it is what we have. I'm sure that I'll make other videos kind of maybe talking through. So this is how I would do it. I would say if you have the heroes to run infantry, cavalry, archers, and trebuchets and siege, I would do it. I would stick with all of them pretty much evenly across. That way you can counter whatever you come across. I would say probably I would make my cavalry, I would have definitely enough in my castle that I can counter archers, and I would probably make that more on the lower end of the spectrum. Trebuchets and siege in general. Siege is going to be the castle specialist. So if you love smashing castles and you don't care as much about throne and overlord and field of honor and stuff, these guys are going to be a great troop type for you. They're going to have disadvantages in the throne buildings, like I just said, but these guys are going to do a mass amount of damage, and I can say with some certainty that these guys are going to be fun to play with, especially in rallies against castles. Big fatties, I think they'll do quite well. Archers, I think that they're going to be really dangerous because the counter to them, you don't only need a little bit of T11 infantry to counter what's coming at you, which would be cavalry. So these guys, I really believe, could be very strong and be the new meta troop going forward. The thing that saves infantry, I think, actually is the Jansen combo. Gideon is also super strong still. I still think that he will do quite well, but they're not going to be as overpowered, at least from my perspective right now, as they were before, because a decent chunk of archers are going to be able to give you the advantage. So I really don't have one troop type that I'm going to say, like, you got to go with this one. All of them have their own very good specialties. I will say cavalry kind of got the short end of the stick here, just because they were getting their ass kicked by infantry already. They didn't need to get countered even harder. That would be my one thing that I would say I think hurts the most. I think that the infantry HP decrease for axe warriors, that was very necessary, and it made them less dominant. They're still very, very good, but they are more manageable to go up against. Well, that is what I got for the update real quick. I just wanted to get this video out for you guys so that you can make your decisions, consider all you're doing, and hopefully you guys choose something that you can have fun with. Well, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm going to be trying to pound out videos as fast as possible. I'll probably go through all the different troop types and show reports and everything else. There's going to be a lot of testing going on for me personally, especially in Overlord. And I just want to try and get as much of this info out to you guys as fast as I can so you guys can make informed decisions and hopefully help out some players. All right, I will catch you guys later. Bye.